Welcome back. South Africa, in its capacity as G20 president, is set to host the G20 foreign ministers in Johannesburg, a meeting that the United States has snubbed. This is the latest in a string of events that continue to sour relations between the two countries. But let's get you some analysis now. We're joined this afternoon by Mikatekiso Kubayi, who is a senior researcher at the Institute for Global Dialogue. Mikatekiso, it's great to talk to you. Thanks very much for joining us this afternoon. The G20 theme, solidarity, equality, sustainability, says Marco Rubio, is one of the reasons for this boycott.
Well, that's unfortunate because a lack of solidarity is one of the reasons why Africa struggled during the COVID-19 pandemic and couldn't access the vaccines that it needed. For instance, I mean, if there's anything that the world needs more, is solidarity, to resolve the massive, global challenges that we are facing. No country, no island, not even the United States can even attempt to solve these problems by themselves. It's a global problems require global solutions. They require global solidarity to attempt to resolve them.
Do you think, in your opinion, that this is sort of part of Donald Trump's approach, an American first sort of foreign policy?
Well, it seems to be. Look, it's still early days, yet, of the administration, but it seems to be, so far, a sort of, a hardline, initial, stance, demanding this, that, and the other, and so on. And hopefully, they will come to some sort of, reasoning, and participate as they should, in the G20. Because it's important that they do so, but it wouldn't be a surprise at all. I mean, and this a hardline position towards South Africa. It's not a specific unique position towards South Africa or South Africa G20. They have adopted this position pretty much towards everybody. And so on, and it remains to be interesting. Of course, it remains interesting to see how the world will respond, to this. But it is grossly unfortunate that he would say this. I still hold the hope, of course, that he may still come and attend. This because the G20 is not South Africa. The G20 is the group of 20, and so on. So I'm not too sure the extent of the value that abstaining from participating in South Africa's foreign ministers meeting will actually have. We have seen recently, not too long ago, Sherpas of Europe and the EU and some other European countries, individual European states coming in support of South Africa's G20 presidency and so on, because they understand that global problems require solidarity. They require everybody to come on board. That is the reason why you have the EU as a member of the G20, why you have the African Union as a member of the body. Precisely because you need global solidarity for to attend to global problems. You simply cannot without it, unless if maybe that is what they're trying to suggest. That we allow problems to just pile on and so on without any resolution. I doubt that's what they want. As they will certainly, I expect that they will certainly make some sort of effort to assist the process. What that effort will be, I don't know at this point.
Yeah, I mean, countries like Canada also coming out in support of South Africa, endorsing the meeting that is set to be taking place next or this week, I believe it is. Yeah, later this week. Look, the meeting is going to go ahead either way, with or without the US. Yeah. Is this now an opportunity for South Africa to perhaps cement to a greater extent other relationships that may have been on the sidelines?
Yeah, well, the opportunity to do so is there, at every forum of this a particular nature, whether be it at the African Union, whether be it at the G20, at BRICS, at the UN. Whenever you have, a platform of this nature where multilateralism, is at play, there will be that opportunity, and you seek, constantly to improve relations, especially strategic relations with partners, because, as we know, South Africa wants, to improve trade, it wants to improve industrial capacity and industrial output. It wants, to increase technological outputs, technological innovation and capability, and so on and so forth. So it's always going to be important to look at, developing and strengthening, by developing new partnerships and strengthening existing partnerships, to leverage those relationships to, attain, domestic ends. If you like. So yes, of course, they'll certainly be doing that. South Africa will certainly be doing that, and so will the AU. I'm certain that, there may even be a BRICS meeting, by the way, on the sidelines, as well, in addition to others. So it will certainly be a feature.
Do you think that, as much of perhaps a slap in the face it might be for South Africa, that it puts into question the future and sort of the cohesion of the G20 grouping and the role that it has played in historically stabilizing global financial markets?
Look, snubbing, the G20 literally plays, into, the argument that the G20 is illegitimate to begin with because it's not representative. So now you have, this one country, that, is literally flexing muscle and power, saying, we won't do this with everybody. We'll rather push our way. Making the argument for all of those that, are saying multilateralism isn't working. It's precisely because of behaviors, such as this, that put a dent, on the G20, and not only on the G20, but, on other multilateral, instruments as well. That's what makes this, more unfortunate. That, they're supposed to be coming in and, taking their role, as one of the leaders, of this global economy, right? You have a G20 for a reason, right? It means that you are an important player in the economy. You are expected to show some measure of leadership, to how, to resolve issues, not by standing away and bullying everybody else. Because what their interests are, what their circumstances are very different to other circumstances and realities of other people. And you have to, work together in order to. I give you a case in point. What do they say to the impact of the global financial crisis that started in the US, for instance? And the global population is watching all of these things, and they're wondering, but, hang on, aren't we supposed to be, if you hold that level of power, that level of, influence, and you decide to bully everybody, and, it means that you essentially saying you can do whatever you want, on anybody at any time. It's really unfortunate.
Mikatekiso, let me thank you for your time this afternoon. Mikatekiso is a senior researcher at the Institute for Global Dialogue. Mikatekiso Kubayi, thanks very much indeed for joining us this afternoon. We talk all things G20 foreign ministers meeting in Johannesburg, which, as we know, the US has